it needs to be understood among the community is that, like, cannot compete in the space. They can't produce. They can't make it. They can't sell it to. And I was saying this from the beginning. It wasn't going to work out. The price point isn't competitive. The library isn't there. The audience isn't there, right? There is no interest in.
Well everyone, it's that time once again where we bully Nintendrons who think that emulation is illegal because Nintendo says emulation is illegal, so therefore emulation must be illegal. I am, of course, referring to one Harman Smith, or Cody Lee if you want to go by his pen name, just don't read his books because they are absolute cringe. I know I've warned you all once before, but Daddy Jestan is often not taken seriously or heeded, either on YouTube or in the real world, by anybody. Anyways, Harman Smith made another terrible video in regards to emulation where he spreads misinformation all throughout, and it's up to Daddy Jestan to show him just how wrong Nintendo is, as well as how hypocritical Nintendo is. It's something most people, even the non-Nintendo fans, don't seem to notice, if I'm being honest. Only a select few of us can truly see that Nintendo eats, sleeps, and breathes. Rules for thee, but not for me. Oh, and before we can get into this video, I should tell you that I'm suffering from serious pain in my gums right now, so if I should sound different or I start complaining about pains in my mouth during the video, you now know why. So, let's hear some more awful takes from our most hated Nintendron. Take it away, Harman!
The PC gamers. Boy, the PC gamers constantly blowing themselves out. This is something I've talked about extensively at length several times now. Just talking a lot of shit about PC gamers and like the current state of PC gaming. And now,
Okay, so I know this is an older video, but Harman, PC gaming is at its absolute best right now. We get all sorts of games from Steam, GOG.com, Epic Game Store, amongst several others. We can actually use mods in our games. We have VR, we have free online in our video games. What does Nintendo offer you? How about below 1080 30 FPS? Online gaming that you actually have to pay for, meaning you have to pay not just for the internet to use the online gaming, but the online gaming feature itself, and Nintendo Switch Online isn't even worth it. Furthermore, there are no mods for games on Nintendo Switch, no VR to my understanding, and the third parties are now abandoning the platform for the other consoles and PCs. So tell me again, which is the gaming platform that's in such a shitty state? PC or Nintendo?
it really has gotten a little bit worse. It really does feel like PC gamers are starting to realize that their platform of choice isn't interesting, it isn't innovative, it isn't new, it isn't fresh or exciting, so...
Actually, we do have a ton of stuff to look forward to on PC. It's Nintendo fans that don't have anything to look forward to. VR, mods, no subscription service for online gaming, for the most part. 4K 60 FPS, the list goes on for what we have to look forward to. So please, Harman, tell me what Nintendo fans have to look forward to on the Switch, if you don't mind.
As a result of that, their primary response to everything is that, Bayonetta 3, it's been leaked for a PC release. Monster Hunter Rise, that'll come to PC, still hasn't happened. All these third-party games, they'll all have their definitive versions on PC, and for the Nintendo games, we can just emulate those. Those aren't a big deal.
Well, I don't know if Bayonetta 3 is coming to Steam. I've heard rumors that it is, but it's beginning to look like it isn't. But whatever, I really don't care for Bayonetta 3. It looks like a trash game in my opinion. Monster Hunter Rise came to PC around about the time you made this video. Give or take a day or two, I believe. But Harman, do you ever stop to do any research? Oh no, wait a moment. No, you don't. You just make up crap as you go along, just so long as you can paint Nintendo in a positive light while, at the exact same time, paint every other game and gaming company in a negative light. Well, 99% of the time you do, anyway.
Not only is none of that true, it's the lies are really piling up and becoming more and more and more absurd
What are these lies, Harman? Are you going to provide any examples to back up that claim, or are you just going to say it and then move on and hope nobody questions it?
Like, we are getting to the point where people have been doing this for years, but I'm seeing it more and more. We are getting to the point where people are straight up saying that games are running perfectly fine on emulators when they're not. Like, I was seeing people saying that, like, Origami King was up and running right away.
Harman, Nintendo consoles and games are easy as balls to emulate. And I don't know about right away, but I do know that Paper Mario, the Origami King, is in fact playable on Switch emulators.
I was seeing people saying they were playing Three Houses, that they were playing, like, Odyssey, that they were playing Breath of the Wild. They kind of exclude all the steps necessary to get it to happen, like the PC rig they need to have, the specific emulator, like the donations you have to spend on that emulator.
Okay, so there is a lot to unpack there, but let's go through it, shall we? First of all, Fire Emblem Three Houses, Super Mario Odyssey, and Breath of the Wild are playable on Switch emulators such as Yuzu. Second, to play a Nintendo game on an emulator, all you need to do is download the emulator, get the ROM or ISO for the game, drag and drop said ROM or ISO into said emulator, and there you go. You are now playing that Nintendo game on PC. It's no different from, say, downloading a game from Steam or GOG.com or Epic Games Store. Lastly, I've never had to emulate shop the way Harman's talking about. That's why you look up review scores and try emulators until you find one that works or is your favorite. Fourth, you don't have to spend donations on emulators, and if donations are there, then they are optional. If a donation is required, then it isn't a donation. Required donations is an oxymoron. Lastly, I have a very old laptop that I gave to my dad several years ago that can run Nintendo-based emulators up to, at the very least, the GBA era. That's the beauty of Nintendo's hardware being underpowered, is that it is very easy to emulate.
Like, having to pirate and download the game to begin with, like...
I swear to God, what is it with Nintendo and their pissed-off little Nintendrones and their inability to understand that emulation isn't piracy? Just because Nintendo doesn't like emulation doesn't mean it's illegal. So, I want everyone in the comments section to tell me, would you like me to make a video on exactly why emulation is 100% legal? Emulation and piracy are not interchangeable terms, and I am so sick and tired of seeing Nintendo and their pissed off little Nintendrone saying that it is. So to anyone who says that emulation is illegal, please shut the fuck up.
It's bizarre, the weird kind of admissions that these people will kind of acknowledge if you're like going through a lot of these discussions and conversations. For example, like N64 games are coming to PC.
Nintendo 64 games have been playable on PC through emulation for the longest time, Harman. Please stop talking.
What happened? The PC gamers tried to say they can just emulate all of them, but as it so happens, a lot of people were talking like, a lot of people were admitting that, like, you know, a lot of these games, a lot of these N64 emulators, still, even in 2021, don't run all that well.
Every Nintendo 64 emulator that I've ever used has run pretty well. If it didn't, it was due to my computer's hardware, not the emulator.
They're not, like, optimized for certain games. They don't run. Like, they have issues. They have slowdown. They crash occasionally. Frame rate drops. Like,
you are aware that everything you just listed happens on the actual Nintendo consoles too, right, Harman?
There are a lot of problems that these games have. Excuse me, I need to lift.
Yeah, Nintendo games do have a lot of problems, the biggest one being that they're owned by the biggest douchebags in the gaming industry. And why did you feel the need to leave this bit in your video, where you're exercising? We're just gonna skip past this, as it doesn't add anything to the video, and Harman doesn't lift anymore anyway.
The PC gamers are, at this moment, every time a new Nintendo Direct drops, they try to make excuses and justify why PC gaming is their preferred platform. Like, oh, that's getting a PC release.
Actually, Harman, Nintendo fans need to justify why Nintendo is their preferred console manufacturer of choice. A company that hates its fans, underpowered hardware, and more that we PC fans don't really have to deal with, and if we do, then we can always take our money to another game developer. And I question how long it'll be before Nintendo starts porting its games to PC, as that would cut down on the piracy that Nintendo loves to bitch about so much.
That'll be ported, that'll be emulated. Like, they just keep making shit up. And more, I think it's going to be difficult to continue. It's going to continue to be difficult to do this. Like already with Wii games, you kind of struggle with with putting in the motion controlled sensors and things like that. That problem is only going to continue with games like Star Fox Zero and ARMS, games that heavily rely on.
There are peripherals that allow you to emulate the Wii and Wii U's motion controls. Also, who cares if we can't play ARMS or Star Fox Zero, which, need I remind you all, is the worst Star Fox game of all time.
You can make all the excuses you want, that oh man, people just don't want to play Star Fox Zero, but the reality is just that you don't have every game on the Wii U library. You don't have every game on the Nintendo library.
Nice argument, Senator. Why don't you back it up with a source?
My source is that I made it the fuck up.
Do you have access to every game from Nintendo's library on the Nintendo Switch, Harman? And not just the games that were made by Nintendo or published by Nintendo. I mean, from other games that are on Nintendo's consoles. You know, like the Dragon Quest game. They're about the World of Mana game, Square Enix's Saga franchise? No? I didn't think so. So here's some advice for you in the future. Don't ever try to raise a point if it can be countered and then used against you.
And now, what we're seeing with the Switch is that there are so many. If you're a subscriber to the Nintendo Switch Online, right? If you have access to these games, you can just hit a button and download not even download, they're already there. If you download the app for N64, you get Ocarina, you get Super Mario 64, you get Win Back, you get Mario Tennis, you get Sin and Punishment, all this crazy shit that you might not have even heard of, right, on emulators. Right there with a press of a button, really quick interface, really engaging. The games as they were originally released, fully functional. Online play, I think, is confirmed.
Sorry to interrupt Harman in the middle of his point there, but no, mate. Last I heard, Ocarina of Time on Nintendo Switch Online was complete garbage. Didn't Nintendo make Ocarina of Time? Shouldn't that mean they know what they need to make it run? Oh, and while we're on the topic, stop bitching about emulation, Harman, because you know what else was emulated? Super Mario 3D All-Stars, which were emulated worse than the fan-made emulators you can download online for free. Also, I can download every single game that's available on Nintendo Switch Online from the internet for free. Having said that, I don't condone piracy, but then I also don't like it when my games are tied to a subscription service either. While we're on the subject of piracy, to quote Gabe Newell, the solution to piracy isn't to implement anti-piracy software, it's to offer a service superior to what the pirates offer.
The definitive version of these games are on Nintendo hardware.
Okay, first of all, no. The superior versions of Nintendo games are on PC. Always have been, always will be. 2, why are you slapping your hands like that while you say what you're saying?
You are simulating that experience on PC, assuming you get these games at all. And the more you struggle and deny it, the more people like me are going to continue making fun of you, because you people are downright delusional. PC gaming cannot compete with Nintendo in 2021 or in the future. PC gaming will continue to decline, and companies like Valve and Epic are going to continue to rely increasingly on consoles and especially smartphones to continue generating revenue.
Oh, Harman, if only you knew what the words irony and projection meant. Okay, so why exactly does Valve have to rely on consoles? Valve has their own storefront on PC called Steam that they make bank from, and they now have a handheld PC called the Steam Deck that is the true Nintendo Switch. Also, the PC gamers aren't struggling nor denying anything. If anyone is struggling, denying things, and downright delusional, it's the Nintendrones. I mean, I don't know how to tell you this, so I'll just come straight out and say it. Valve doesn't have to compete with Nintendo. If anything, it's the other way around. There are more PC gamers than there are Nintendo fans. Even the tiniest iota of research would prove this to you, but you don't do research before you make these videos, which is exactly why your predictions completely fall flat. Also, you claim that you make fun of PC gamers, Harman, but the problem is, again, it all falls flat coming from you. The PC gamers are making fun of Nintendrones like you. Touch grass, Harman.
Blizzard is going downhill. Activision is going downhill. Well, they're the same company. Sega, Konami, Capcom, Square Enix. what are you looking forward to?
The Elder Scrolls 6, future Fallout games, Starfield, Sid Meier's Civilization 7, and other such games. I could name you several more, but I think you get the point.
Like, since Cyberpunk 2077, it feels like you people have been in, like, a death spiral and just don't want to admit it. You are an old man at the end of his life who just doesn't want to acknowledge that he spent his life, ruining his family and just ruining his entire, just lived a bad, just had a bad existence, and that he's going to hell because he has no idea. He had no idea what he was doing, what he was missing out on, what the value of living actually is. That's the PC gaming community. You don't know what makes console superior, and as a result of that, you have no idea what it means to be a gamer.
Holy shit, man, talk about projection. Harman, PC gamers know exactly what they're doing, and they are far more of real gamers than you could ever hope to be. No, the superior gaming experience will always be on PC. There are no two ways about this. Gaming on PC is always going to be the superior option. You get the best of everything. The best graphics, best FPS rates, best games, access to mods giving games more replayability, and the list goes on. Again, what does the Nintendo Switch have to offer? Apart from Nintendo exclusives, Nintendo consoles offer us literally nothing that we can't also have on PC. And with that, we have finally finished this god-awful video, meaning that I can now end this video because holy god is Harman unhinged. No, scratch that. Cody Lee is a madman. He is unhinged. He needs to find a professional therapist and seek help because he clearly has problems. Like, he has no empathy for others, and he needs to be booted off of the internet entirely, not just YouTube. Anyways, I'm gonna let you all go now, but please consider liking the video if you liked it, or dislike it if you didn't, and I'll see you all on the flip side in the next video. Bye-bye for now!